So yeah,
Ray.
sorry for that slight little hiccup. I can only assume that Keith broke it.
Yeah, blame me. I don't mind. I do
Can I
mind.
just say, we're not appear to be live yet.
Yeah, we're live.
We'll appear on the live page in about 30 seconds, don't worry.
No worries. There we go.
It's a little bit of a delay.
Yeah, there should be a little bit of a delay on it anyway, because I think it's anything up to about 30 seconds, depending on what Google wants to fucking do. So Google, I would ask you very kindly not to fucking make this one screw up, please, because we didn't do anything wrong and we were just having a nice conversation and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, Sean says we are back.
Oh,
Excellent.
Sean.
We are back.
Sean.
Hi, Sean.
Sean, stop playing Guild Wars 2. We know that you're playing Guild Wars 2. If this carries on, we're going to have an intervention.
Trevor says we are back too.
So guys,
What's wrong with Guild Wars 2?
it's nothing. It's just that the fact that he had the game for about a week. When it went free to play, he downloaded it and started playing it. Because we've got a guild.
Brian's just pissed off because Sean's better than he is. That's all it is.
Keith, I've played it for about an hour and I'm like level 11, and that was. Don't get me wrong, it's a good game, but I try and really limit myself with MMORPGs, because if it's anything like World of Warcraft when that first came out, I sat there for days.
Yeah, I played WoW pretty much solid for 7 years. I'll never ever go back to that again.
And this was back in the early days of WoW, actually. It had only just been released, so if you were playing a hunter, you had to keep going back into town to buy ammo. Yeah, because ammo is a thing that you need for like blunderbusses and stuff. You can't just, have infinite shots because it's a video game.
But Sean says he's at level 80 now, so no point.
Oh my god. I'm going to start playing something else. All I need is someone to tide me over until November, and then I am nobody's. I am busy. There will be no JV Live.
Well,
there will be no work.
There'll be a little bit of an interlude in October. Battlefront. Oh yes, Star Wars Battlefront.
I'm
not
kind
floating your boat.
I don't know. I mean, so many promises.
Yeah, true.
It's changed so much.
Oh no, I'm waiting for that.
All I'm waiting for is the new Doom game. That's all I'm bothered about.
Next year.
I'm in that non-land where I'm very excited about Star Wars Battlefront, but I've nothing to play it on. So,
yeah.
So it's something to be excited about when I get my shit together.
That's harsh.
But I do love Battlefront.
It does look good. Looks
Yeah.
good.
It looks incredible.
Haven't they just released the beta stress testing on it? You can actually.
What?
You can if.
Origin.
I think it was either. I'm pretty sure they've either released a beta or they're going to release a beta, and it's an open beta as well. Which
Yeah, if it's open, I'll be in that bad boy.
If people don't understand different types of betas, you've got a closed beta, which is invitation only, and then you've got an open beta, which is anybody.
Free for all.
Because I'm in the closed beta at the moment for the new Fable game. I say I'm in the closed beta. I haven't actually bothered with the last two beta testing sessions because one I wasn't here and the other one I just couldn't be bothered because I don't like the game.
So why go into the beta then?
because I'd loved the Fable franchise, and this was before I'd played it. Yeah, Warframe is also free on Xbox and PlayStation, I believe, as well.
And PC, obviously.
Yeah, that's because Sean said Warframe is free on Steam. Great game. So
yeah, Steam, right. Yeah, Warframe's alright.
There are some good free games up there. I really like Unturned. Unturned.
Oh, there's one. No, shooter one. Shit. Warface. That's the one. The one Crytek did. That's quite good. Stupid name, but a good game.
But not every game has to have a brilliant.
What's that called again, Martin?
See, let me get Christmas out of the way, and then I can start building.
You want to start doing what I started doing, Gords? I don't buy Christmas presents now for anybody other than my nephews. And then the money I would have spent on other people, I buy myself something.
I've got 3 kids.
Yeah, you obviously got to buy for the kids, but the other people, don't worry about them. Kids are important. The Christmas is for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're like that now too. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've got 3 kids and a partner who has 3 kids and a partner who has a £500 a month alcohol and cigarettes habit, which is quite frustrating because that would build me a suitable PC.
That will build you a more than suitable PC.
It's not going to be a Titan, but it'll do the job, yeah.
No, the plan is, whenever anyone says, what do you want for Christmas? A little bit of money, then I can put it to one side. And then my birthday's in February, so I can treat myself. So that is where the plan lies at the moment. But I have to start planning for Christmas now. I mean, I've got James's birthday in a week. I've got Dylan's birthday in a little over a week. And then you got Halloween, bonfire night, Christmas.
Hang on a minute, it's my birthday before Halloween.
There's your present, Ryan. Sorted.
Aw, 2 of them.
2 of them.
I wasn't expecting the one.
Now what's that Trevor's on about in chat? Gorge, you need to get tomorrow out of the way first, then see if you haven't been nicked.
There is that.
Oh, are you going to pay a visit to the B&M store tomorrow by any chance?
I've got to work in the morning.
Oh yes, indeed.
But there's a vague possibility that yes, I will be parking up in Wigan on the way home from work.
Right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
Of Just Vapes, you've heard it here first. Gords is most definitely coming to visit me tomorrow afternoon. He will not be anywhere near Wigan.
Gords won't be near Wigan when he finishes work, for the simple fact that I do wear branded clothing. So no, what I'll be doing is maybe going for a walk later on in the day. But no, there's a conversation that needs to be had. At the moment, the plan is to actually have the voice recorder set on my phone and my headphones just dangling out of my jacket, so I can record the conversation. But that's as far as it goes, and it may stop depending on the CCTV situation, because I'm not a happy person.
No, hardly surprising. Not many people would be in that situation.
Well, the fact is, I can't really turn around to Gallagher and say, I've put it to him. I'll tell you what I've done. I'll update you all on where I am. I sat him down on Sunday night. His mum had a conversation with him in the afternoon and explained how disappointed she was, I believe. I sat him down on Sunday night with a beer and we had a proper conversation about what e-cigs mean to the larger population, more specifically the smoking population. I laid everything out to him. Harm reduction, 10 million smokers in the UK, how him and his friends messing around with this sort of thing could cock things up. Blah, de blah, de blah. How we don't know the long-term effects, how it could affect his possible sporting aspirations in the future, because he's a very keen rugby player. He's a very fit young lad, to be fair to him. Monday night, he handed in his e-cig, which I've put to one side. What I am really annoyed about, not only was he given an e-cig, what he was actually given was a 30-watt iStick clone and an iSub clone. He wasn't told about changing heads. He wasn't told about power settings. Nothing was explained to him. And he claims that he's been generally buying zero nic liquid, but the 2 boxes I found in his bag were 6 milligram. So he was actually buying nicotine e-liquid, which we know ourselves isn't quite the same as being given cigs. It's much less dependence for me. But he was given no information, and the place where he got it from does have a reputation around Wigan for supplying to kids in school uniforms. What also needs to be said is that Wigan Council themselves, they operate a responsible vendor policy where vendors who wish to be responsible can sign up to this. They're inspected and they sign a pledge not to supply to people under the age of 18. It's not legally binding, but many vendors, and Wigan's they've got quite a few vendors, and they all generally agree with the general consensus, which is vaping is not something to get kids into. That's not the point. The point is harm reduction for smokers. This place is a pawnbrokers, and I do know that via a proxy, the vendor that I use around Wigan have actually got some of their equipment, and the simple way to describe the equipment that this place is selling is utter shite. It's not brilliant. But the fact is if the media's to get hold of this, the media can turn around and say, as they have their want to, that there are vendors that are supplying children. The fact that this guy is as far from a vendor as a fucking Asda supermarket or your local garage won't enter into it. As far as the media will paint it, it's a vendor selling e-cigs to kids, and this needs to be addressed. And despite it being known, it hasn't been addressed. So unfortunately, I'm going to address it. And I've had a week to get pissed off about it. So I can't really guarantee exactly what's going to happen, but I'm probably not going to be a very calm person tomorrow. I've been pissed off about it all week. And as I say, as much as anything, I've been pissed off simply because, yeah, my stepson might have a desire to acquire an e-cig. At the end of the day, I'm a vapor. His mum uses e-cigs. It's quite easy to point the finger and I'll hold my hands up and say, I've not hidden it from him. He's well aware of what I do, but he wasn't aware of the implications of that to the larger society. Now he is. And all credit to him, he thought about it and he turned over his stuff and said, alright, fair enough. He's took on board what's been said. He didn't realise. Much like we wouldn't have done when we were kids. I mean, fucking hell. I didn't start smoking until I was 20. I was one of the few people who made an informed decision as an adult to start smoking. But when I was probably only 6 months older than he was, I was going out round Lee and Wigan drinking. You know, I've done my fair share of questionable stuff and stuff that adults would prefer kids don't do. I don't begrudge that to him. But I think the vendor needs to be brought to... Well, I think that the supplier needs to be brought to task about this. In a little over 2 weeks, what he's done would be illegal. As it is, there's no legal recourse. But he still needs to have the situation explained to him. As do anyone else in any town who is in a similar situation. This is the problem with an unregulated landscape. As much as we dislike regulation, some of it can be for the positive.
Yeah.
We've got to admit that.
Some of it has its place.
The thing is, you've got two types of regulation. You've got government regulation, and then you've got self-regulation. The games industry is self-regulated for, what, nearly 20 years now?
They have done, yeah.
And there's never been an issue with it. Because what they do for the thing, you have to put in what you think the game should get, and then it's shown to people outside the games industry. Independent people are brought in, they're showed clips of the games and whatnot, and then they get to say, yes, that's a 18 plus game, that's a
sensible rating.
The games industry has had their fair share of controversy by NIMBYs, not in my backyards. It doesn't matter that the complaints were largely irrelevant and largely fear-mongering. The games industry itself has fallen foul of, over the years, some quite harsh accusation. But e-cigs are a very polarising subject because they mimic something that people have spent a long time demonising. So e-cigs get an unfair crack of the whip.
Aye,
One
indeed.
way, yeah.
So I think we should move on to happier times.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to acquire more beer, so start with happy times. I'll be back in a second.
Okay, mate.
This is kind of weird because I don't usually do happy slappy stuff. I don't know. Anybody got a happy subject we could talk about? Have I told you all what I'm doing on November the 10th?
I don't think you have, Ryan. What are you doing?
I go to work.
What are you doing after that?
Go to sleep for about an hour and a half.
And go to work, yeah.
After that?
Then I'm going to sit on my ass for 24 hours and play a video game. Live on Twitch.
Live on Twitch?
Yep.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Twitch.tv/Oxymoron Gaming 1.
Ah. And what will you be doing?
Is this
This is the Fallout 4 24-hour live stream where I'll probably be swearing at and worshipping Todd Howard at some point as well.
Is this a live stream that you've not mentioned in the slightest ever in the last 4 weeks?
I don't think I've mentioned it at all.
No.
No, I don't think he has.
It's news to me.
Hey, it's self-promotion. It's.
Is this live streaming for any particular reason, or is it just because Fallout 4 came out?
It's because I've been waiting 7 years for this game, and it's finally coming out, and now I'm all excited, and now even just.
Yeah, it's just because Fallout 4 came out then.
Imagine yourself at Christmas when you know that you get the top bike. That's what Ryan's feeling right now and has been doing for the last few years.
Ever since the Bethesda conference, though, that's it. I've been like up here somewhere. I'm just like, because I actually, the Bethesda conference, the day after the Bethesda conference, I had to be in work early, So the Bethesda conference, I actually came home, had a quick bite to eat, went to sleep, set an alarm, woke up 25 minutes before the Bethesda conference, watched the entire Bethesda conference going, that's actually not a bad game. The new Doom game, because obviously ZeniMax have acquired it, which is brilliant news because they've actually helped on the gun mechanics for Fallout 4.
Mm-hmm. Which is really quite interesting news. That's good stuff.
And the new Doom looks absolutely fantastic.
It does. It looks amazing.
Thanks, I know I'm YouTubing when this is finished.
Yeah, you should check out the new Doom, man. It's going to come out early next.
Just to wind yourself up about all these things you're not going to be able to get.
Well, no, because if he's going to be building a computer in February next year, then Doom will be.
Well, yeah.
Doom's coming out in March.
Yeah.
To be fair, I've got a spec mapped out, which I feel will suit me. It might not be the best gaming PC in the world, but it will do what I need it to do. Whether it will game or not, we'll see. But it's a work in progress. Like I say, I do not have £1,000 to just throw at a machine willy-nilly. So it's going to be a case of getting something working and then adding to it as time permits and cash permits.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
the best way to do it, mate.
Really, you can build a serviceable gaming computer for probably about 300 or 400 quid. It's not going to be top spec. You're not going to be able to play all the latest games in the highest settings. You'll probably be able to play majority of the latest games. Some of them are a bit intensive.
Where I'm at, including the graphics card, the system I'm sort of looking at putting together is 420 quid. And 120 quid's worth of that is the graphics card.
Yeah.
But I could always choose to put a bigger graphics card in if I'm sensible with my case choice. And that price is subject to change the more research I do. But the only bottleneck is likely to be I'm looking at using an AMD APU rather than using a processor and going for a graphics card.
That's necessarily going to be a problem. The whole since the release of DirectX 12, though, the whole AMD, NVIDIA, Intel issues are becoming less and less clear cut. Chances are, by the time you get around to building one, one will be as good as the other.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, the advantage of the APU system is the main task that I want a computer for is this. And as you can see, I'm sat in my summer house. So what I want is something in the summer house that can be connected to a TV or a monitor and stream Coda. So if I can stream to Coda and do live streaming, that's my computer's job done. If it can game afterwards, fair play, but that is ultimately not the massive aim of this computer. So an APU will actually do everything I really need of a computer. Now, what I'm also seeing is that you can add a graphics card to it and it will game reasonably. It's nothing like bleeding edge. You're talking 2-year-old technology. But it will certainly play the sort of thing that I'm interested in, even if I'm not going to get 4K on a 36-inch monitor or anything stupid like that, but it'll reasonably do what I want it to do. So that's where I'm aiming myself. And if it bottlenecks me at some point, well, it bottlenecks me. It's tough shit, really. As I say, I've not gamed for 5 years, so I'm not going to commit suicide over the fact that I maybe can't play the latest game. I've got 5 years worth of games to
because you get 5 years worth of stuff to catch up on.
You know.
Plus, at the same time, even if you're playing everything on medium settings, it's still going to be equivalent to, say, last time you were gaming anyway.
Exactly.
Looks-wise.
So that's where I am.
As long as you get a decent enough power supply to handle everything, you're fine.
Yes.
That budget I've looked at, the specs for everything, including the graphics card, were 600 watts. And my first port of call was right, minimum 750 watt power supply. I'm an electrician.
Yeah.
You always overspec your power supply.
Yeah.
It's as
Well,
simple as that.
a 750 will last you a good time, because 750, unless you're running like dual or quad graphics cards, which you're not going to do, because even most like high-end gamers don't bother, because putting two graphics cards together is still kind of a wonky sort of thing. It's okay for rendering, like if you get some industry standard Titans or something. But I mean, I'm not ever going to go out and spend £1,000 on a graphics card.
The nice thing is with the sort of bits I've been looking at is the graphics card I've looked at can do Crossfire without using a bridge. But it turns out what I can actually do is Crossfire the built-in graphics of the APU with the graphics card, if I understand it correctly.
The card itself. Mm-hmm.
So I can actually do dual graphics cards, but part of it will be the actual processor. So as long as I'm sensible and buy a graphics card that's relevant to that processor and allows me to do that, if I really want to, I can do it.
Well,
but
apparently,
it's always going to be behind what is now relevant, because I'm looking at 2-year-old gear.
well, in chat goes, Sean's got 610, I think that's a power supply. He's got one you can have somewhere. And Trevor's got an R9
it's a graphics card.
graphics card doing notes at the moment.
I will be in contact with both of them as and when I've got cash available.
Yeah, the 610 is a graphics card, like Martin was saying. It's the GT 610.
Yeah. Yeah.
As I was saying before we actually started live streaming, I've got people giving me bits, but it transpires that what we thought was a complete computer is quite literally bits. So
Yeah.
I'm bumming a PC basically.
But look on the bright side, George. You like to tinker with that sort of thing anyway, so it's a good excuse to actually get your hands dirty and put the thing together yourself.
Yeah, I've never built a PC yet. I've got a vague understanding.
It's like Lego.
Well, that's the way it seems. It's like I figure out what I need, I purchase all these parts, and an hour later, I'm watching porn in 4G. That's how it seems.
Apparently, the R9 270 that Trevor G's got is a very good card.
That's what's in the spec.
Yeah.
So get in touch with
They're
Trevor.
good cards.
Yes. Trevor, just put it to one side. When I've got some cash, I will buy it off you. Most definitely.
See, this is a brilliant thing about computers as well now. You can actually, if you are thinking about buying a computer and you've got a little bit of extra cash in your pocket one week, you can just go out and buy one component.
Yes.
And then the next time you've got a bit of extra cash, you can buy the next component. The most expensive thing you're probably going to end up buying is the CPU.
Well, that's the rationale behind the APU setup. In that I buy an APU, I buy a motherboard, with a case and power supply, and RAM, and it's up and running. I don't have to factor in buying a graphics card straight away. That's kind of what's got me intrigued about the whole thing.
But Trevor says if you need help, get in touch with him. It's his job, building PCs.
I definitely will.
Actually, come to think of it, I've got. I don't know, I might have been them. I had a bunch of old hard drives in the cupboard.
He said he can sort out a 1 terabyte hard drive for you as well.
Excellent.
1 terabyte is going to store a lot of porn.
Yes.
Oh, there is one thing. If you do build a machine, try and budget in for an SSD drive. Really,
That's in the,
an
that was in the
SSD
spec.
drive just makes all the difference. Good.
That was in the spec. Buy an SSD drive to start with, and port with the fact so you can have maybe
Yeah,
one
and then
game on
split in a couple of hard drives.
it, and then later down the line,
Yeah.
add a big drive for storage and
Yeah, another one.
transfer across.
It's kind of weird though at the moment with SSDs because they've really come down in price from what they were, and now
They
it
have.
seems an
Significantly.
SSD is a necessity, even if you only buy a small one just to install Windows on and the main key programs that you use, and then everything else can just be dumped on a normal drive. It's fine.
From what I've been looking at, it's like 60 quid, 250 gigabyte SSD, or 240 gigabytes to be fair. So it's like, well, I'm starting from scratch,
That's
so
it.
if that holds me back by a month, but I benefit from it, well, fuck it, it holds me back a month, I don't care.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
The thing is, Gord, what you'll find is it will hold you back a month initially, but then in the long run, it's going to save you bloody years just on loading times alone.
Exactly.
Apparently, Trevor G's got a spare 128 SSD as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to JV Live, or as it's now called, the Computer Exchange.
Yes. Trevor, I've got a feeling I'll just drive over.
Give us all your bit.
That's probably a good idea.
Right, where does Trevor live? Because I think we need a road trip, people.
Trevor's not all that far from me. I don't think. I think he's only 100 or so miles away.
Where do you live, Trev?
Easily worth the trip.
But I mean, like I was saying, I mean the SSDs, they used to be about the old rule was $1 a gig, which over here worked out to £1 a gig because we all know how fucking pricing works. Yes. It's $90 if you buy it in the USA. It's £89 if you buy it in the UK.
Yeah, all they do is they change the little fucking symbol at the end. They don't bother changing the price to reflect it.
Yeah.
No, they never do, but this is what bugs me
your
about America. It's so cheap in America to actually build a PC.
Trevor lives in Southend, by the way.
Yeah, Trevor does live a long way away from me.
That's alright, I'm about half.
If the above is any use to you, tell me and he'll send it to you. Sam's got some bits as well, apparently.
Right, what I'll do,
easy before the end of the week at this rate.
what I'll do, I'll stick a thread up in Just Vape Social, and then I can pick all these people up and talk to them and sort things out, because I'm not on it begging for a PC. Seriously, I will. I will pay.
I think what it is, George, is once you've got a PC and you actually use it a lot for gaming, you end up getting new parts for it. Not regularly, but like once a year.
This I've seen and understand, but still.
And then once you put the new part in, you can't really get rid of the old part, because even if you try and sell it, there's not many people out there that are going to want it because it might be outdated and stuff.
Yeah,
you people that you run with are going to be all on the same gear. But at the same time, I will pay fairly for second-hand bits. You know, like I say, I'm not begging for stuff.
We understand that, man.
Yeah.
But
That's the problem I've got.
I really appreciate anyone offering any help. I really do.
Trevor says he'll start sorting out some bits tomorrow, mate.
Trevor's awesome.
See, that's the thing. Last time I built a computer, it was 3 years ago, just before I started vaping, actually. And I haven't been able to buy any more computer bits since, because all the money gets spent on fucking vape gear.
I was going to say, I bet you're glad that you built it before you started vaping.
Oh, God, yes.
Martin, I'm going to really annoy you. For 2 months, I spent nothing on vaping, but continued vaping. Because I mix for myself. And you buy stuff in bulk to do that. I bought no atomizers, no mods, no drippers, no nothing. And I've been mixing stuff out of what I've laid in over time. And that's how I built my pond. I spent my money on like a fucking 5,000 litre pond.
5,000 litre. It's a swimming pool, not a pond.
No, you couldn't swim in it, but it's big enough.
Indeed. Sounds huge. 5,000 litres, Jesus.
It sounds huge, but it's surprisingly small. But part of this whole where you see me now was having a background, and the background is the waterfall runs, and I've got fish, and I've got a pleasant area to be, you see. This is like my little escape route.
Waterfalls and shit.
You know. So, PC,
we all need that.
The PC and everything is like the next step. So eventually what I'll do, I'll have a sleeping bag in here, and I'll live in here, and the family just won't see me or speak to me or anything.
He'll be up until the early hours of the morning watching high definition porn.
Yeah.
Call it what it is, it's your man cave.
Well, you've not seen the true God's cave that is behind this wall. Where this is now, the other side of that is the true God's cave. This is the God's tranquility area. I actually have a proper workshop behind it.
This is the Gord's cave that's not going to be full of tools. This is the Gord's lodge. This is Gord's relaxation zone.
Yeah.
Relaxation corner.
No.
The Gord's retreat.
Behind this wall here, there is quite a substantial garage. It's not fully kitted out because it's full of work stuff at the moment, but the work stuff is going, and eventually it will be a proper machine shop. So
cool.
That's where I'm sort of going. Which means my family really won't speak to me.
I wouldn't worry about it.
I wouldn't worry about that. Yeah.
My family stopped speaking to me years ago, and it's very peaceful now. I just sort of get left alone. I've been up here since about 5 o'clock, just fiddling about on the internet. I played a bit of Unturned. I actually played a bit of Minecraft as well, which is kind of weird.
Can't stand that game.
To be fair,
No,
I
me
am
neither.
facing the prospects where the family won't live here anymore either. So, you know. All is not well in the God's world, but there you go.
You'll be alright, mate. Everything will sort itself out.
Yeah.
Well, that's my take on it.
Yes, indeed.
Anyway, it's
No
1:30.
matter what happens, in the end, it all works out.
It's 9:30. We've been going now for 1 hour and 25 minutes minus a 5-minute break we took in the middle because Google wanted us to take a break.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to have an extra 5 minutes then?
I haven't got any content left. Well, I didn't have any content to begin with.
Well, exactly. So we just talk bollocks like we usually do.
We've done well to get an hour and a half out.
Planning is overrated.
We actually did have like a good 10, 15 minutes at the beginning where we were actually talking about something other than computers for once, which ended up talking about Computer Game World. But that's not the point. Man, I want to go and play Bioshock now.
Can I just say a big thank you to Sean?
Oh,
I've just got your
right.
message. And awesome.
I actually want
See,
to say
that's the
thank
thing.
you to everybody in chat.
Yes, chat has been very, very good tonight.
You've been very helpful and very, very generous with your offers. And it's nice to see that the community is working together on something that's not vaping.
Yes.
It just goes to show how important the community actually is. It's not we don't just talk to one another because we all share a similar hobby. Because by talking to one another, we all find out that we've got very many similar hobbies. A lot of us are into gaming and films and the like, and it's nice to be able to talk to people that you've talked to for a long time about something other than these things.
Genuinely, it's touching. I would like to say, seriously, thanks. It's very much appreciated. But Sean has already messaged me. And thank you, Sean. It's very appreciated. I'm touched.
I will say one thing. If Sean's going to give you a rig, be careful, because it will probably come loaded with Guild Wars 2.
I don't mind. If that's the price I have to pay, I'm fine.
And thanks very much to Trevor G as well.
No. Seriously, guys, I'm very touched.
Well, we
Sean
got
said just need to get codes off that bleeding phone.
It works, god damn it, it works.
That's right.
I'm better than some people who have got computers.
Yes, Ryan.
My computers are both running fine, thank you. My laptops are treating me well. And then once I got my main rig in here and like my Starship fucking display screens eventually. I only want like 6.
At all.
Oh, and a new TV. Thinking about
On the ceiling.
yeah, well the one's going on the ceiling anyway, but I'm gonna put another one sort of there, so when I'm streaming games I can just play and then I won't have the desk won't be cluttered with anything.
Uh-huh. Makes sense.
But you do, for what I do, I need multiple screens. I've always needed multiple screens.
Yes.
Especially like doing this because I need to be able to keep an eye on chat. It's not that I don't trust the people in chat, it's just the fact that I know the people in chat.
Yes.
So
They're very generous people in chat.
they're very lovely, nice people in chat that I would never have a word said against. However, I do know what their sense of humour is like. And it's very much like mine.
No, seriously, guys, you're awesome.
They are.
I do mean that.
Ashley says, I'm sure Keith could power up that lot for you, Ryan. He has enough power cables.
Yeah.
In fairness, I don't think he has the right power cables that I would be needing, but we can give it a go.
I'm sure I have got the right power cables.
I can say one thing for certain, though. No matter how many screens I end up with this time next year, none of them will be 4K.
You sure?
I just don't buy. I'm not buying into 4K gaming until 4K is a proper thing
No. You know what I will be buying into though? Oculus Rift.
Yes, me too.
Consumer version, I'm bloody.
Not until it's a hell of a lot cheaper.
Oculus isn't going to be that bad actually.
I've had a play about with the DK2. It's awesome. It's unbelievably good, and that's the development kit, and that's the 2-year-old one. So high hopes.
The thing I'm happy with Oculus Rift is they've actually taken their time over it. I know I bitch and moan and complain because they haven't released it yet, but I would rather they take 5-10 years to actually develop it than just get another Nintendo.
Rush it out.
Uh-huh.
Because
Love.
What was it called? I can't remember what it's called now. Not the Game Boy, something else.
Sega Game Gear?
No, it was it's a Nintendo thing, and it was the first 3D game.
DS?
No, it's old, Keith, really old. And the way you played it, you actually had to lean down on it. You had to be sat at a desk, and you used to get these like goggles, and you used to have to sit down into it. And I'm trying to think what it's called, and I'm really escaping me now.
Wasn't a Game & Watch, was it?
No.
He's gonna find out. I don't know what it is either. I don't recognise the description.
Oh.
I've got a couple of 3DSs. They're not too bad.
Yeah. It didn't last very long. They released it and then they recalled it straight away.
I must have missed that one.
Virtual Boy.
Virtual?
Ah, okay.
Basically, they rushed development on it, so you only got red and black for colours. So it was shit. It was released in July of 1995 in Japan, and it stopped being on sale it got discontinued on December 22nd, 1995.
That bad.
Basically, it was pretty much the Sega Saturn of its day.
Uh-huh.
You can still buy them on Amazon.com.
What, the Virtual Boy?
Yeah. American Amazon, obviously, but...
It actually sold 770,000 units. But yeah, because it was supposed to be this really big idea, it was going to be fantastic, it was going to be the next step in gaming. And in 1995, people were really worried about 3D gaming. It was that thing that you needed to bring out. And then obviously, was it the same year or the year after that the PlayStation got released? Was that 95 or 96?
Oh, I can't mind.
I hate when I can't remember stuff.
He was 96.
94.
Do you know I tripped over the other day on Amazon while I was searching around? A Neo Geo. They are still available to buy.
Yeah, I've actually got the Neo Geo Pocket Color.
Really? Fucking hell. You're the first person I've ever met that has a Neo Geo.
Yeah, I really like SNK games, especially the SNK fighting games. And if you like SNK, you've got to have a Neo Geo.
They were in the day the unicorn of gaming systems.
Neo Geo was ahead of its time. It just never really got a worldwide release. It was only really...
No, they were a serious unicorn.
It's bigger in the States for a while, wasn't it?
From what I remember.
They still are. Still like rocking all shit. It's actually easier to find one of the arcade game cabinets and find a working Neo Geo home system.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
But I found a place still selling Neo Geos, and it was like the gold edition, you know, some special edition, but it was getting on for £1,000 for something that I remember as a kid being fascinated with, and I'm an old fart.
I think that's bad. Try and find a Philips CDI.
I remember that.
They were over £1,000 on release. Nowadays they just go for stupid money because not a lot of them were sold.
Gorge, Trevor's asking what operating system are you looking to use?
Some form of Windows, simply because it's most compatible with most of the stuff I'm going to need to use.
So Windows 10 probably.
Yeah, best bet.
Doesn't necessarily have to be Windows 10.
So Windows 7 or Windows 10 maybe.
Yeah. I know that if I get a legit copy of Windows 7 or Windows 8, I'll end up
It'll
with
update
Windows
to
10
anyway.
in the second in time.
Yeah, because I keep getting that pop up on this laptop because this one I've already done up to Windows 10, but this one I can't be bothered with. It's still on Windows 8.1. But every sort of after about 10 minutes of being on it, I just get the pop up. Upgrade to Windows 10 now. And it is a pretty simple process. You just press OK and it'll just do it. But you'd be better off with a clean install of it rather than going over what you've already got.
Yeah. I have to agree with that one. I didn't do a clean install. I'm thinking I might knock the computer down and redo it. But it means reinstalling all my games, which will take ages and I can't be arsed.
Sam says he's happy with his original Sega Mega Drive 2 with Mega CD 2.
That's a good combination, man. You can play Night Trap, which is one of the most controversial games to ever be released. You could play the terrible Terminator game that was on the Sega CD. But you can also play Sonic 2.
I really enjoyed
Sonic
that one
3.
on the arcade machines.
Do you know what I still have somewhere? I'm sure it's at my dad's. I've still got an Amstrad CPC 464.
Okay, no. I've never actually owned one of those.
Seriously old gaming.
Gord, you should find out whether that still works, because if it does and you're not going to use it, I would put it on eBay with a reserve.
I know that my dad gave away one of my computers, and I don't know if it was the Amstrad or the Amiga. But the Amstrad, I even had, I can't remember what the module was called, but you bought a module that plugged into the back where the printer port was. And then it was like a pass-through, so your printer plugged in the back of that. But you could freeze any game then, save it and drop it on a disk drive. Because the Amstrad was a cassette computer. Yes, kids, one day we used to play with cassettes that took an hour to maybe load or maybe not.
And then when you missed the first fucking jump, you died, and then you had to reload the entire fucking thing again.
Yes.
I remember because we used to have the old Amstrad, but because my sister had bad eyes, my dad refused to buy anything but the green screen one, which was supposed to be beneficial for those who needed glasses and such, so you weren't staring at the computer all the time.
What hype and nonsense that was.
The Amstrad was one of the first ones that was a proper home computer, which had a monitor and the system itself.
Yeah, because up until that point, everything just used to plug into the back of the TV.
You plugged it in the back of your tube TV and you played it, and then the Amstrad was like, no, fuck that, you've got to have a proper monitor. All mechanical switches, all mechanical keyboard.
Hey, man, mechanical keyboards now.
That's the thing about it.
Yeah, mechanical keyboards are now the hot shit.
Yeah.
And Amstrad,
you know, very fucking expensive.
But it's because they're just more responsive.
Well, I remember being a kid. You had a joystick, and it composed of 6 micro switches. And I remember my dad used to work in a place where they used the micro switches for something on the machines. So my dad used to bring home micro switches, and I used those. I'd wire them into the joysticks to repair faulty joysticks. So I've always been a twat that messed around with stuff. But I remember rebuilding ancient joysticks that had a 9-pin D plug that you plugged into the back of the computer to use.
And back in those days, you didn't have 25 fucking buttons on the joystick.
No,
either.
did you fuck?
You had 2 if you were lucky, and they both did the same fucking thing.
Yes.
If you had a birthday and you ended up with 30 quid, you'd buy like a flight control joystick that had auto fire on. And all the auto fire did was...
and a molded grip thing.
Yeah. And the best joystick that I ever bought...
Because most keyboards were just that.
I can't remember what it was called. It was something like a Colourtech. But it had a steel shaft. Most joysticks were all plastic, and this had a steel shaft.
All plastic, and they'd snap.
Yeah. Well, most of the games...
I had one of them.
Most of the games, like Decathlon and stuff like that, you wiggled the joystick like fucking mad to run down a track.
Track and field.
And then you'd end up going...
There were games that were known as joystick destroyers. And they were like the test bench at the time. You know, if the fucking joystick lived through like 4 or 5 games, then it was a good stick. But I had this stick, and it had a thing at the base, and you picked it up, and basically all it did, it clamped down harder on the fucking steel shaft and made the joystick harder to operate, so it was more responsive. But that thing lasted for years. It lasted till we stopped using the bleeding computer. I don't think I ever even needed to replace a micro switch.
They don't make them like they used to.
Yeah, but we live in a throwaway society now. That's it.
No, fucking hell. Back in the day when we were all computer enthusiasts, you were tinkerers. You were men in sheds, or boys in sheds in my case.
Uh-huh.
Well, not just that. I mean, at one point in the game,
I was going to say, yeah.
At one point in the gaming world, you were all coders as well, because you used to buy the magazine, and on the back of the magazine, every week or month, you
programmed it
basic yourself.
Uh-huh. Fucking ZX81 magazine where you type all the code in to get the game to work.
Amstrad Action. I used to get that every month. I subscribed to that. Amstrad Action.
Jumping a little bit, while we're talking about gaming magazines, jumping a little bit forward, does anybody remember Games Master magazine?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the terrible TV show that came along with it?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Where they used to get a little kid on every week and he used to ask for cheat codes for this game or that game. And they'd even let kids on where there was no cheat codes for the games, and they'd just be like, no. Man, they were cruel to kids back then. It was
Were you one of those kids?
No. I always wanted to be, but no. I won a Meccano set on the Big Breakfast once.
That's something that's missing from today's TV, that is gaming programs.
Yeah, but that was when games were just really taking off.
Yeah. It's when they were becoming mainstream sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the old advertisement, isn't it, with the Mega Drive. Sega does what Nintendo don't. And it was all about Mortal Kombat because the Nintendo consoles, any game with Nintendo, used to get Nintendo seal of approval. And that seal meant that the game was family friendly.
Do you know the one that still sticks in my mind? was for the Amiga when Lemmings came out. And they had Sunshine on a Rainy Day as the backing track. Awesome advert.
Well, when I was in primary school, we actually had the computer lab built while I was in primary school. In fact, it took over the old library. So our library then consisted of 2 bookshelves, which was fine. But I was actually a computer monitor mainly because it meant that I used to get out of lessons and go and set up the computer lab for computer sessions and whatnot. All we ever did was play fucking Lemmings.
Yeah.
And never the right way either. It was not about saving the Lemmings at all. It was how many can I kill in such a short space of time.
I remember being at school and all the computers had was Lemmings, Asteroids, and Minesweeper. Even back then, they had Minesweeper.
And then it wasn't XP. It was something before XP. What was it? No, it might have been XP actually. Because one of the games that used to come loaded with it was then a pinball game, and everybody used to fucking play it when you were.
That
born.
was Windows 98.
Was it 98 it came out in?
Jesus, you're young.
It was 98. Yeah.
I'm young, yeah. I'm only 28.
I remember Windows 3.1.
Yeah.
I've still got a
Yep.
Windows 3.1 system somewhere actually.
Asteroids was quite literally, you move the mouse around and that spun the points around.
Uh-huh.
Whatever the pointer was pointing, you press the mouse button and it's shot.
Yeah.
I think you had to use the keyboard to move it around because you just had a boost. So you pointed yourself in the right direction and hit the boost, and that's how you moved around.
Our physics
Yeah.
teacher used
I'm gonna
that.
put this.
Fuck, I'm old.
I'm gonna put this out.
About accelerate, thrust and shit.
I'm gonna put this out to chat. Does anybody ever remember the 1001 things that you used to get? And it used to be about that big. And it was a controller, but it used to plug into the TV, and it had 1001 games on it.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
There was only
I
actually
remember
about 20 games on it, and then they were just variations on that 20 games. And none of them
I
had
remember
fucking
being-
names in the list, they just had a number.
Keith will remember this. I remember the big hoo-ha when PCs changed from a 286 to a 486, a 386.
Mm.
Yes.
And it was massive. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that the 286 was something like 286 kilobytes per second.
Mm-hmm.
Kilobytes, not
Kilobytes.
megabytes, not gigabytes,
No,
kilobytes.
Megabytes.
It's like when the Mega Drive came out and it was a 16-bit game system.
No, it was an 8-bit game system.
No, the Mega Drive was 16-bit, the Master System.
Mega Drive
was-
was
The Master System was 8-bit.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
And then the Mega Drive came out and it was 16-bit, and the new thing was 16-bit gaming.
Yeah.
And then the TurboGrafx 64 came out, and that was 64-bit, although it wasn't 64-bit.
Do
It
you
wasn't even.
remember the Jaguar?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do. The one gaming console that I will never actually pick up and play, no matter how good the game is, purely on the fact of I hate the controller.
Uh-huh.
Because it's the most asinine design for a controller in the world. There are that many buttons on it, it's like being in fucking the bloody Houston when they're trying to fucking send a rocket to space. You don't know which button does fucking what. And then you used to get the cards that used to fit over the top of it.
Yes.
But because of the way the card used to fit in, you used to try and press the button where it's supposed to be, and you would end up pressing and mashing like 4 or 5 buttons at a time.
Here's something for you that you probably, I don't know if any of you will remember this. The Mattel Aquarius.
Do you know, that sounds vaguely familiar.
It was,
Name
it was a computer that had cartridges.
I'll tell you what I do remember on the Amstrad. You used to buy a flight simulator, and it came with a keyboard cover, and you stretched it over the keyboard, and it had your buttons. So, like if you were playing Harrier Jump Jet, you stretched this thing over, and you had your various buttons marked on for your undercarriage and your flaps and things like that.
I could do with that actually nowadays for a lot of modern games because I always forget what key does what.
So I'm guessing nobody remembers the Mattel Aquarius then.
No.
I used to play Dungeons and Dragons on that, Ryan.
See, I used to play Space Crusade on the Amstrad.
It was a very, very basic computer.
Yeah.
It would be. It was released in 1983
Uh-huh.
and then discontinued in 1983.
Yes.
Oh my god, it had 4 kilobytes of RAM.
Yes. And I had one.
Which was expandable to 20 kilobytes.
Yes. I had the expansion pack as well.
Didn't have a bad CPU though, 3.5 megahertz.
Yes, I used to play Dungeons and Dragons on that.
Hang on a minute. Ah.
Ryan's starting to get a grasp of just how old me and Keith are. In gaming terms, we're ancient.
We fucking well are, mate.
Yeah, but the thing is, I like the old games.
That looks
and I
further
like
on
the
than
old
I am, to
systems.
be honest.
Trust me, I used to game on the ZX81, mate.
This Aquarius
My
has
first
16 colours.
Yes. ZX81 had 2. Black and white.
Oh, actually, speaking about colours, do you know why Mario's got a moustache?
Go on.
Because they could only put so many colours in, and they couldn't put like a mouth in without adding an extra colour to the sprite, so they just gave him a moustache so it looks like he's got a mouth.
That was another, what's the word? Revolution, wasn't it? Sprites.
Yeah, 8-bit sprites, yeah. Because before that, I mean, you had sprites, but they didn't really look like anything. They looked vaguely like, oh god, I'm trying to think of the game now. You're running through the jungle, you got to jump over the Pitfall.
Uh-huh. That was an awesome game, actually, that was.
Brilliant game, just lacking slightly in the graphics department.
Yes.
But everything looked like what you knew what stuff was. It wasn't wasn't like just a block here and a block there and a block. Yeah.
No.
And then they tried to remake it a few years ago and they absolutely ruined it.
Yes.
Just now you got.
I always remember my first gaming experience. It was playing Elite on a BBC Micro. I must have been about 5, maybe. Great.
You know,
Still play Elite to this day.
used to use those at school.
I remember playing Settlers, I think, on the Amiga. I want to say Amiga, and it came on.
Settlers was an Amiga game.
It was once you got the fucking thing loaded, because you used to spend an hour just swapping out floppy disks.
Yeah.
Please insert disk 7.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, Settlers was one of the
That
first
just
big
reminds
games.
me of.
But going back to what we were talking about at the start of the show, Another World.
Yes.
That was a massive game.
That was
it was about 11 discs.
Uh-huh.
I will say one thing with Another World though, they have recently re-released it for next-gen consoles and on Steam,
They did.
and they have not touched it. Other than changing the aspect ratio and cleaning up the sound, they haven't done it.
I've got it on my phone, but it won't work. You have to have a controller to play it, so I have to play it on my Android box. But another groundbreaking game was Syndicate on the Amiga.
Yeah, I've still got that. That got redone as well. Well,
Yeah,
I don't know
it
if you
did
call
get
it redone, but it got released again.
Yeah, they fucked around with it, but I've not
So,
played the redone version. But the original Syndicate, I can still remember the cheat codes. You
oh,
put your team
the
name in as
original.
Mike's team, and you got everything.
That's right. You could just go around mesmetroning from level 1. Yeah.
But
Not
it's
Mesmetron,
amazing.
what was it called?
It's
Fallout 3
amazing.
version.
It's amazing, isn't it, how certain things stick in your mind. It's like I was playing a couple of years ago. I had the Sony Xperia Play phone,
Uh-huh.
obviously the PlayStation phone, and I put Civilization 2 on it because I spend a lot of time sometimes waiting around for buses and whatnot. And Civ is a brilliant game to just sit and waste time with.
Yes.
And I was there, and I'd been playing for a while, and then I suddenly realised if you rename one of your cities _ capital C AS capital H, and as you put in the capital H, you press R1 and start, you get like a shit ton of cash. So instead of waiting for stuff to be built, you just buy it and it's done the next turn. It's great, but little cheat codes stick in your mind. I like the Konami code. Isn't one that I would say just sticks in your mind, because the Konami code is legendary and everybody should know the Konami code.
Well, it's like IDKFA. Everyone should know what IDKFA means.
that was Doom, wasn't it?
It's part of a seminal. Yeah, it's absolutely part of gaming's history.
It's the same with Halo, bringing Fubar to us.
Halo is another seminal game.
I remember seeing Wolfenstein 3D for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, you've gone and
Yeah.
mentioned it now. Keith's gonna keep on at me.
Yes.
Do you know where I was and what I saw Wolfenstein 3D the first time on? I was in a Tandy computer shop looking at a 486 PC. And a 486 PC at the time was £1,000. And it was about 1990, maybe?
That would have been thereabout, aye. No,
92.
92. It would have been probably 92 because I was in academy at that point. My dad was a computing teacher, or still is, and he used to be able to take the computers home from school. So I was every weekend we'd have a 386 or a 486 home to play with.
But at the time, a 486 was £1,000, where a family shopping budget was maybe
shockingly expensive at the time.
£150 for the month.
Mm-hmm.
And you were struggling to hit that because we're in the middle of a massive recession.
Uh-huh.
Or just coming out of a massive recession.
Coming out, yeah.
Yes,
No.
Ryan. Ryan, are you there, Ryan?
I'm here.
Wolfenstein 3D, Ryan?
Yeah, 1 second.
You really should play it. It was great.
It's not. I've played
Still
it.
is good fun.
The playing it isn't the issue. Getting it to work on a modern thing without having to use DOSBox is.
Yeah. It was a proper DOS game.
If you get it on Steam, it does all the DOSBox fiddling about for you.
There you go, Ryan. Get it on Steam.
So you just launch the game and it works.
Look, I keep giving my money to Todd Howard. I'm not giving any to Gabe as well.
Just do it, Ryan.
But yeah, I was just like all the old games. See the
I've just
Origin, EA's Steam copy. They do their on the house thing and free old games generally. So I've got SimCity 2000, the original Syndicate, Theme Hospital, Wing Commander 3, and Ultima 8 Pagan. It's worth keeping an eye on.
Do you know the one I can't remember the name of? Oh, it was a space game, and it was, I think it came out on Amiga, and possibly even Amstrad. And it was by like one of the first really big games programmers. And I want to say his first name was David.
David Braben. It was Frontier Elite 2. Yes, I had
That's
that
it.
too. It might have been the original Elite. Not sure.
Well, there was Elite and then there was Elite 2. Now you mention it. Now you've dropped the name.
Yeah,
in
Elite
my
2
head.
was called Frontier. Yeah.
And that was like one of the...
Yeah, I played that too.
Wing Commander.
Yeah, and that's
Well, that was-
Chris Roberts. He's got a new one in the works as well.
That was one of the first open world games before people acknowledged what open world actually means. It was huge.
speaking of on the
Recommend.
house game Origin, currently it's Red Alert 2.
Red Alert 2. Yeah, that's right. I forgot that one. Yeah, I've got that now too. And the expansion pack, Yuri's Revenge.
Yes.
That's a nice complete little package.
So it looks like Tok is going to be quite tired tomorrow at work.
But again, Origin does all the DOSBox fucking about for you as well, so it's nice and easy to get them running.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I just like to point out we are still live.
I know we're still live.
Yeah.
This has been a really, really, really long 5 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah. Welcome to a load of old farts reminiscing about shit that's 30 years out of date.
Yeah, I'm sure chat don't mind.
Yeah, most of the chat's 30 years out of date. Yeah, go on. You can all attack me now. Anybody?
Attack? Sorry, I missed that. I was typing. What?
Anybody like to attack Ryan? No?
No? Yeah. It was all in good fun.
Seems you're safe.
Yeah, I have this weird thing where people like me for some reason. I don't know why, because I'm an asshole, but I think it's because I'm open about the fact that I'm an asshole.
Don't worry about it. At some point, I will get a chance to drop in and see you. And I'll physically attack you rather than verbally.
Ah, that's alright, that hadn't happened for a while, that'll be alright.
That's comforting, I'm sure.
Handbags and everything.
I used to work in pubs. I've been dragged across the bar, thrown out. I once got thrown through a bloody table. Not a lot phases me anymore. I just generally just get up and carry on with whatever I was doing, unless I was collecting glasses, in which case that would be messy.
So what is it that you're playing mostly at the moment, Ryan? Just all Fallout stuff?
I have no idea what you're talking about, Keith. I've never heard of this Fallout game that you keep talking about.
No, surely not. Is that all that you play
Yeah,
at the moment?
No, I've actually keep meaning to play the new Tomb Raider game, but yeah. The thing is,
Yeah, I keep seeing that on Steam sales and going, oh, I should get that, but I never have.
but I kept saying to myself, oh, I'll buy it because it keeps coming down in price, and then it's like reached about tenner, and I'm like, I'll get it, and then the Xbox games for gold was actually Tomb Raider. So I'm like, alright, I'll download it. I'll probably never play it, but I'll download it.
But Tomb Raider was another one of those games that came out, and it was like a massive marker in gaming history.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, the pointiest tits I have ever seen.
They're still good fun.
I've gone back and started Tomb Raider 1 all over again.
Yeah, but it's a brilliant game.
Yeah, they're still great fun to play.
And the only thing that bugged me with Tomb Raider is the more and more versions of the game we got, the more and more away from the original concept we got as well. It wasn't a case of being a Tomb Raider anymore. It was, you know, shooting people who were trying to shoot you. It became a third-person shooter, and it just... I had more fun backflipping away from a bear in the first game whilst shooting it with the dual Berettas than running around with an MP5 shooting people for the sake of it. Not to mention the fact that an actual MP5 is about that big, and the MP5 in Tomb Raider 3 was like... huge.
Yeah, it was out of scale.
Yes.
But the remake they did of the original Tomb Raider wasn't too bad. That was quite fun as well. I can't hold it, but they redid it. What was it? After 4 or 5 or something like that? Can't mind. But it was quite good because it was stuck pretty close to the original.
I remember the one, and my flatmate at the time was playing it, and I was sat there, and in like a 6-hour session, he managed to complete the entire game. And I'm not spending 40 quid on a game if I can complete it in 6 hours.
Yeah.
Which is why I like Bethesda games. They're glitchy as hell. The graphics aren't the best in the world, but they're alright. They're not bad, man. They're big. There's plenty to do, and you can replay them many times because you get multiple options and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always a bit different.
I have to say my favourite Tomb Raider game was number 4.
That's where they started with the going back and forth between areas to get stuff done and whatnot. Yeah, that really confused me when I first played that.
Last
Revelation was that one.
Yeah. I really did enjoy that one.
Tomb Raider
The
never
setting was really
captured me.
good. Yeah.
It never captured you.
No. I played a bit of it and was like, meh, and traded it in.
I don't know. I think I played it first on. Anybody remember Demo 1?
Yes.
That was a good demo, man. That was back when we had demos because, you know, we don't get demos anymore.
Yeah, you used to buy a magazine and you got a CD or a cassette or a 3.5-inch flopper that had a load of demos on.
Yes, I remember the original demo one.
And I think that's the problem with the games industry now because there's no demos. People can't really try out the games, so people are a little bit wary about buying games. Like I bought Batman Arkham Knight. You know, I spent 50 quid on a game.
Which, if you try the demo, you wouldn't have paid for it at all.
No, because at first I was excited about being able to drive the Batmobile, and then after the first bit where you drive the Batmobile and then all of a sudden you turn in the Batmobile into a tank, it just becomes that's what you have to do. In between every stealth mission, you've got to jump in a Batmobile and then you've got to play tank games. And if I wanted to play a tank game, I'd just download World of Tanks, where I'm driving an actual tank.
But
Batman
that's probably
Arkham,
that's why they don't do demos anymore, because if you play the level of the game, you'd realise it was shite and wouldn't bother buying it.
pretty much. I mean, I always preferred timed demos over like a level demo, because a lot of the games I like.
Because a level demo can still
Yeah, because I mean,
deceive.
yeah. Like Hercules on the PlayStation seems really easy, but the level they actually put you on is about halfway into the game. And then when you're actually playing it, not so easy. I actually got stuck on the first level because there's this bit where you got to move a boulder, and I was trying everything to move it, and it just wouldn't do it. I tried punching it and God knows what else. It turns out you just got to stand next to it for long enough for him to grab onto it, and then just push it. But then when there's like the one Castlevania game, to get further in the game, you've got to go right to the end of the level and crouch down in the corner for so long until a whirlwind takes you away. And that was in a day's.
How unintuitive is that?
There's no explanation for it in game whatsoever. It's just that's the thing you have to do.
And there's nothing to tell you that no hints or anything to say that was what you had to do.
Nothing whatsoever, Keith.
No, games were never written like that. You had to try and get yourself into the mind of the person who'd written it.
Yeah, which with Castlevania games is very, very difficult.
Was a very.
They are brilliant games, don't get me
the
wrong.
mind of that developer. Please.
But there are certain things that not even I want to think about.
So I've got to say I do need to get going because it's fucking cold down here now.
That's all right. I've just realised the time because I got work at 7 o'clock in the morning. Ooh, I get a lion. So I think if we do our wrap up, everybody say their goodbyes and thank the nice people for actually sticking with us to the very end. Gords, would you like to go first?
Right. Thank you for joining us, people, and as I say, it's much appreciated, everything. So we'll see you again soon.
Keith, would you like to say your goodbyes, sir?
Yes, thank you very much for joining us tonight and sticking with us till this time. It's a lot longer than we normally finish. And we shall see you again this time next week. Bye-bye.
Martin, would you like to say your goodbyes to the nice people?
Surely. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, it's been fun. Cheers, yeah.
And finally, that leaves me. And I would like to say thank you for everybody for turning up. Thank you for Martin for joining us this week. It's been very nice having you on. We've had a nice, good chat today, I think. I do apologise again for the slight technical issue. Yet again, not our fault. Don't know what was actually going on with that. Everything was still running fine. My end, it was still showing we were broadcasting, and then it just went completely tits up. So thank you for your patience. It is very much appreciated. If you are into gaming, don't forget to go and check out Derek's channel, Scottish Geeks. Really good channel. He's getting somewhere near 7,000 subscribers now as well, I believe. Keith?
I think he's north of 7,000 now.
He's 95 off 7,000.
Fair enough. So if you haven't already, go over to the Scottish Geeks YouTube channel. If you go into Just Vape Social, there's a couple of links where he's linked a few of his videos anyway. obviously, I do a gaming channel. We're kind of on a kind of weird sort of hiatus-y thing at the moment because we're trying to sort a few things out and just have a little bit of a revamp and a clean out. But do go over to Oxymoron Gaming on the YouTubes and give us a like. And also, I have my own gaming channel, which is Blue Hat Gaming, because I'm really good with names. I haven't done anything on there for a while, but I would be expecting some Command & Conquer Red Alert at some point in the next couple of days. Just saying.
I need new videos, so do upload.
They will be long ones as well, because Command & Conquer games, I would rather do them as big, long videos than short. Because I don't like 20-minute videos for somebody in a game where you know...
Moving the base around, and that's about it.
Yeah, so... and then at some point I will be playing the Shadow Hearts games, which is the follow-on to Kadauka, which is the one full playthrough that I did, which, if you don't know it, it's a big full playthrough. It's already on YouTube, so you can go to watch the YouTube.
I enjoyed that.
So thank you very much, everybody, and good night. Everybody wave.